It's still raining, but we've got Decatur County Extension in with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening?
All the things. It's almost fair season already.
Can you believe it? Seems like it just happened.
It does. It's that's one of those things that we are already in the planning stages for next year. So the big upcoming thing that's getting ready to happen that we ask all of our 4-H families and volunteers to be aware of is that enrollment is about to open back up in October for the 25-26 year. So that's one of those. Please get enrolled sooner than later, just because we will track you down and ensure that you are doing it.
Cutoff?
So no, that's a great question. That is an excellent question. So in the past, there used to be a enrollment deadline.
Yes.
And that is one of those things. Last year, that went away. So
Okay.
there's not an enrollment deadline. We still ask that you get enrolled as quick as possible, just so then logistically we know how many are, like, resource-wise, what do we need? Because if it's something that half of our county, which is typically the way it goes, is that we will have 100, 200 enroll, and then like those April month, May month, it will just explode where everybody's like, oh, I need to enroll. And the big issue with that isn't that even the resource side, is that from a risk standpoint, if you're not enrolled in 4-H and you're participating in 4-H programming, and let's say something were to happen where you get injured, you're not covered under 4-H/Purdue insurance for a claim. It would be a on you thing. So that's why when we talk to families, that's our big push. We need you enrolled so then we know you're covered and that we're covered as well. So no deadline now, and that was just to be more inclusive. So if somebody's, halfway through the year is like, you know what, I want to enroll now, we have that opportunity to still get them involved and do what they need to do. And outside of some livestock projects, there's no issue with any of the projects, because some of those we do still have some deadlines with our May 15th deadline for our livestock, where that's when you have to have all of your animal information into the system. And with cattle, our market animals have to start their weight. January is usually, I think, whenever they get their first weight in, and that's to show rate of gain and what's going on once they come to the fair. So,
but outside of that, you can register. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so we are getting ready to start really planning on that. We do have an enrollment event planned again this year around our annual meeting. That's going to be October 25th. So we're going to run it in parallel with, I'm not sure if marketing is out for it yet, but the Parks Department.
I saw something on the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so the Parks Department is going to be hosting kind of a trunk or treat at the county park.
Yes.
And it's on the 25th, so we're going to do our annual meeting at 1 p.m. and then kind of wrap things up within an hour, and then we're going to participate and have a table there, but also have our enrollment event going at the same time. So if families want to come and participate in the trunk or treat, they could also come over and we could get you enrolled quickly, because again, thank you to the Community Foundation. They were able to get us a grant a couple years ago to get computers, and they've come in huge with these events where we set multiple families down at once, get them enrolled, and then it takes care of issues. Because if there's a internet gap, or maybe there's just a issue with, because sometimes the system can be finicky if you've never used it, so it gives us an opportunity to sit down with them and show them how to do it. We won't do it for you. We will lead you to water, but we won't bring you water. So that's kind of, so enrollment is right here. So hopefully this year we continue to see our grow. Nora did just share with me, she had a 2-day conference last week where certain counties were kind of awarded and recognized for their numbers, and Decatur County was recognized 2 different times with the number of enrollments continues to grow, as well as our mini 4-H program is showing it was either a 4 or 5% growth over the last few years continually.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so Decatur County was one of those that, I think last year we had 500 plus. I don't remember the specific number of our 4-H kids, so hopefully we continue to see that number increase and continue to get that recognition statewide. So that was pretty cool and fun to see.
Very good. Well, while we're on fair, let's final detail wrap up.
Yeah. So stock the trailer. We did, I think 2 weeks ago, we got our kind of an announcement out what it was, and some of you may have already seen it because Farm Credit made a big post about it too. And
Christopher is not bitter at all about that.
You know what? We need to lead with, I am insanely competitive, so please do not take the disdain in my voice as anything, because we did awesome. That is one of those things we set out. Our goal wasn't really to win. Our goal was to raise more in a monetary value than what we potentially could have won as an award.
Yes.
And we met that goal. And that, right off the bat, is exactly what I set out to do. We did it. We met that. There was just one county in our area that edged us out, and they did awesome. It's Jackson County. They did 24,000 pounds of food for their event. And the last time I think we did really well, they were one that we also were up against. They have a goat club, I guess, that does this, and like I don't know how they do it, whatever. Yeah, because I reached out to their county and did some trash talking after the fact.
So their goat club, they are the goats, the greatest.
They are.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So they did 24,000 pounds. In comparison, we did 11,800, I think. So just about half of what they did, which is awesome. I mean, that was pretty amazing.
It was a large amount of food.
Yep. So we still are going to get $1,500 as a cash prize for coming in second in our area. The county that won was Lake County, which is all the way up north. They raised 75,000 pounds.
That is phenomenal. I mean,
yeah,
but they're a lot larger than us.
They are.
We're talking about
they are,
this.
And it's insane to logistically even comprehend what it took to do 11,000 pounds. To times that by 7 is just incomprehensible at some levels. I mean, that's insane.
So the 11,000 pounds we had, did that fill one trailer?
It was I would say it was probably half to 3/4 because it was kind of spread out at one point. I made a post about it. So, and it was a full size 54-foot semi trailer, and it was I think they're 54-foot. That is so. It was one of those that there was a discussion even on one of the fair committee meetings where is that going to be too much? Do we want to take? And it was like we will. And a few of them were like, "Man, you got that. We are doing awesome."
We did it. Well, because you think about the amount of food they had, they would need probably 4 or 5 trailers to put all their food. I mean, I'm just thinking trying to grasp that concept.
I mean, just trying to just to think that much is just crazy. So the one thing that I will say that was not somber, but one of those kind of reality checks is that when we delivered the food to the food pantries in the community, it was really kind of hard to swallow whenever we were like, here's 3,500 pounds of food, you guys will be good, and all of them said, this is awesome, this will get us through at least maybe one of our giveaways.
Isn't it? I mean, the impact of hearing that is
so it was one of those where we were like, and we were just excited to donate, but that just, and I want to share that just so others realize, like, those exist. They're always looking for donations, and to take that much food and then have them say, oh, there's a need big enough that this will be gone just in one giveaway was like kind of just eye-opening, I guess.
It is, yeah. The food insecurity is something I don't think everyone thinks about often until it really becomes a forefront. So
yeah. So, but we were super, super glad, and I'm really proud of our junior leaders. That was one of those things that the idea kind of derived a little bit from myself, and I worked with the junior leaders to refine it, and they ran with it and approached. So the way that we raised the money is they approached local businesses and, said, hey, would you like to donate a small monetary donation? And they approached multiple businesses, and then we were able to go and buy food and products that would support those pantries. And that's what we did, is we reached out to them before and said, what kind of food and food product would be most helpful for your area? We even worked with Sanders Market in Westport because there is a pantry there, and that is something that we purchased the majority of their canned goods and food items through them. So then it made that connection and closed that gap of, I got this at the pantry, and I know I can also buy even more local than just in Greensburg. So, we really tried to be logistical about it and to raise the awareness that way. So
I think too that Jaden Lawrence works for us and junior leader, and like the thought process when he had to go shopping, he talked about it with us most of that day, and what was heavy but what was useful, and so even beyond helping those with the food insecurity, I think it made the junior leaders think a little bit more about what they were doing.
Yeah, and that was even interesting because I would go with them, and whenever they were buying food, and basically would give them an allowance at some points to say, you have this much to spend. And it was a good reality check for them because, as adults, you go and you buy groceries and you have 4 items and it's like $800 or something crazy. You seem like you spend so much, but you get so little. But when you're buying in bulk that way and you're being strategic, it goes a lot longer. Where it was like, okay, we have 3 cartfuls. How much is that? Oh, this is only 250. Okay, you need to spend 500. Like,
You keep shopping.
oh, well, what else can we buy? Like, and then you see they get it. Then it kind of turns into a challenge of like, okay, like what else? Like, what would I want? And then and they would go and pick and ask, and so it served the purpose, because that was one of the big things that Farm Credit kind of really wanted to push, is that youth were involved and understood what food insecurity is, what it looked like, and they were involved from the beginning to end. So it served that purpose majorly, because all the junior leaders that went with this, I had a conversation with each one of them at a certain point of, you need to spend more. Like, this is great, but you still have another like $100 or $75 or whatever it was to get to where we need to be today. So, huge thanks to all the businesses. I can bring a list back in. We're going to try and do shout outs to them, because there were around 50 individuals and companies that stepped up and supported that cause. So hopefully next year, if WTRE continues it, or if Farm Credit continues it, we'll be able to make that $5,000, maybe $10,000, and really go after
I think
Jackson.
so. I think the competitive spirit is laid deep in all of us now. So.
Yes.
When the announcement came out, it was funny. I immediately got a couple texts from parents that were like, "What? Like, what is this? Next year, I'm already like, let's do it this way, and I want to." And so I think it's kind of going to maybe become one of those things.
It'll continue to grow, I think.
Yeah, and even if it does, and that's one of those things that Nora and I've talked about, that even if it's a program that Farm Credit doesn't want to continue, I was like, could be something that we just continue as a county, that it's the mainstay at the fair, that this is kind of how we do to support the community. But I don't see it going away either, because I'm wanting to say in the entire state last year, the program raised like 110,000 pounds, and this year it was like 225,000 pounds or something like that. Yeah. So which was 8% of, I know 8% of the total was just Decatur County,
which is amazing.
Yeah. So
something to be very proud of.
Yeah, I'm
win
happy.
next time.
Just really, I really wanted that number one.
Next year.
It gives us something to work towards, and not to take anything away from Jackson County, because it's all of the things that we raised went to incredible cause. It's just,
maybe we need to plot the goat clubs against each other.
Ooh.
I immediately, when the first time I saw Max and Claire, I was like, hey, I need to talk to you guys, and they were like, what do you want from us? Like,
listen, the goat people down there have got it together. So
I know. So yeah,
the most goated goat competition.
That's true. Maybe I need to reach out to them, and we can pin like who's the true goat.
That's
Yes.
right. We can blow this up.
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
And that would just be a good goat club T-shirt. Honestly, we
Wouldn't
are
it
the
though?
goats.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that we wrapped it up, and there's always next year for us to be number one.
Yep, and it's super proud of Decatur County, because they showed up, and we made an impact, even though it might have just been at one of those giveaways. We had an incredible just piece to help to make sure families have food. So that's really the main goal of it, and we achieved that. So we'll look forward to next year. Yep.
That's right. Sabrina, you're ready to have a baby.
I am 2 weeks out.
Home stretch.
Yes, I'm excited.
Ready?
I'm so excited and ready. Yes.
I know you've been preparing because you're going to be off for a little while, but
Yeah.
you've got some upcoming events.
Just a couple. So I do have a succession planning event that will be held at the library on October 20th, starting at 5:30 p.m. So if you are interested in getting signed up for that, you can call our office, or you can reach out to the Greensburg Library, and they can get you on the RSVP list as well. I will not be there for it, even though I think it's a great program. I always like to sit through it. I think it's a wonderful program to hear multiple times. But my counterpart from Switzerland County, Kyle Weaver, will be coming up and actually delivering that program. So it'll be about an hour and a half, so 5:30, and ends at around 7.
All right. Very good.
And then I've also got a PARP coming up.
Okay.
We're still waiting to hear back on the CCH credits, but it is approved for PARP points. So January 12th at 9 a.m. at the Ohio Valley Ag branch here in Greensburg, we'll be having a program. So that'll go from around 9 a.m. to around 11:30.
Very good. We had Ag Day. Was that last week? Week before?
I think 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Yeah.
At least 2 weeks ago.
So that was a very productive, good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we discussed the importance of seeds and how they spread, and each one of our youth that came through got to make their own little helicopter seed to show aerodynamics and how a seed may fly and counterbalance and all kinds of stuff. We kind of nerded out on them a little bit, but
that's okay.
They enjoyed it. I don't think any kid really fell asleep or didn't seem like they were actively involved. So it was by the end of the day, we were tired, and you get to a point where you're just kind of on repeat mode, and at times you kind of look at one another like, did I say what I was supposed to say? Or
yeah, did I say that already? It always gives me a lot more respect for teachers that teach the same class 8 times a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good because there were 200?
Around 230 kids.
Yeah, went through, and then like 75 adults that all kind of went to each one of the little spots and did.
It's a big day.
Yeah, it's a fun day. We always are competing against Experience Ag because they're next to us and they have their drone. So we'll be talking, have their attention, and hear their drone fire up, and then everybody immediately looks away.
Yes.
So we have to compete with them, which is fine. I mean, that's okay. But it's a fun day. It's just.
Also, I was wrong. We had 314 fifth graders.
314.
Oh wow, it was a big group.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. The time went quick because the rotation. So those that maybe aren't aware of what happens with Ag Day is there are different groups that you rotate through, and it's 12 to 15 minutes per group depending on each year on how big the classes are. So this year it was more like 12-minute rotations. Okay. So it got tight really quick. So a lot of times we were finishing up as another group was coming in. So we had to, some people got a more summarized version of what we were discussing, but Soil and Water did a good job. They were the ones that really put it on this year and took sole responsibility of it. So it was a good day. We had fun. We had some things that kids could look at. We had milkweed and some caterpillars that all the kids really appreciated and liked looking at. So
that's fun. The community garden also is kind of wrapping up right now. You guys have been a part of that throughout the summer.
Yes. So I think we've actually talked since our last meeting. So I don't have too much more to update. I know that they're still putting posts out on Facebook. There's still produce available. Tomatoes are still going strong. So get your tomatoes. There's still a couple zucchinis and yellow squash coming through. And I think pumpkins are ready to go or getting close to going. So yeah, keep watching the Facebook page or just swing out, see what's on the shelf for pickup.
Has the yellow squash, is it phased out?
So it's still growing.
Is it okay?
But it's starting to dwindle, I think. But I think more people are starting to take it.
I know Dr. McCullough was on last week, and she talked about the yellow squash too, because there was a bountiful amount. So
yes, well, I know I've been taking some home and freezing it. I try not to take too much, but I also don't want it to sit on the shelf and go to waste.
It's yellow squash and zucchini are one of those that they're
interchangeable, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. And I would say that people even use interchangeable names, one squash, but it's kind of the old adage that you don't just have zucchini and yellow squash, your neighbors do, your families do, because then you start just giving it away because it's
everywhere.
It puts on a lot of fruit if it has a good base. So
absolutely. Pumpkins.
One of the things that I would like to kind of throw out there, you talk about tomatoes. So one of the things that I am a part of in the state is that in the state of Indiana, there's 12 educators that do home food preservation that are trained. And so you guys are lucky enough to have one of them. Humble brag. But whenever we talk about tomatoes, I get questions sometimes about tomatoes. So tomatoes, be aware that you can hot water bath can them. You just have to acidify them before you can them. Or if you pressure can them, you don't necessarily have to acidify them, because as we have genetically and selectively grown tomatoes, they have lost some of their acidity.
Okay.
So things that can be hot water bath canned are higher in acid. So then we don't need to worry about acidifying them with ascorbic acid or citric acid or something to that extent, or lemon juice. So with tomatoes, they're right on that verge. And the number that we look for is a pH of 4.6. So if it's more acidic beyond 4.6, you're good to pressure can. If it's below, hot water bath, if it's below the 4.6 and it's more alkaline or basic, then that's where we need to start acidifying, or we have to pressure can them. So tomatoes are right in that 4.6 range.
So I'm a non-canner, okay. So do you, at home, should you be checking the pH yourself when you're ready to do tomatoes, or is it kind of dependent on what you're growing?
So you can buy a pH reader to tell you kind of where you are, but it's pretty standard. There are certain things that are borderline. Most of our vegetables are going to be pressure canned because they don't have a high acid. Most things that are like fruits can be hot water bathed, or if the recipe. So that's where we really get into the details in a lot of classes about using a research-based recipe, because one of the big things that happens right now is that people go out on like YouTube and they will find somebody that's a content creator that does a lot of home canning. And what they do isn't always research-based, and it can be very dangerous. So like dry canning is a real big trend right now, which is insanely dangerous. So dry canning is where you just are taking a product, whatever it is. Meat is a big one for some reason. So let's say you brown up some hamburger, you put it in a jar, you don't put any liquid in it, and then you just you pressure can it. Or you hot water bath can it, and
Again,
then they
do not do this.
Yeah,
this
that
is not
is-
advice.
Not advised, no.
So why that's a huge issue, A, is because that's just heinously unsanitary and unsafe to do it that way, because what you need is some sort of fluid in to help with heat penetration to be able to get to what's called hot spots in the jar. So without any liquid, you're not actually penetrating into that jar at all. So you might be sealing, and which is just a pressure difference, but it's not really getting you to where you need.
It's not going to preserve it.
Right. We're not preserving it because we need to be able. So when we pressure can, the goal is to make sure botulism is not a thing. Is what everybody is after. Clostridium botulinum is the big thing that everybody knows about with canning. Even if you don't can, everybody knows I'm not ever going to eat anything home canned because I don't want to get botulism. As long as you're doing it the safe way, you limit very greatly that's going to happen.
And let's just spread some education. You can't cook out botulism, correct?
Correct. So with Clostridium botulinum, what you're doing is it's not the organism that we're worried about, it's the spore. So they produce a spore, and that's what, if you don't take care of, it will basically cause the neurologic response that we see when people are infected or have issues with it. So what we're doing whenever we're pressure canning is that we need the heat and the pressure to render those spores inert, basically. And we can't do it with just plain boiling water. So that's why we can't do hot water bath, because with hot water bath, you bring the water to boiling, which is at what temperature? Anybody in the room?
160.
212.
No, never mind.
Yes, that's
I don't
exactly
know.
what I was thinking. 212.
So 212.
I was talking Celsius.
212. So with 212, that is not hot enough. So what happens when we're pressure canning is that we're using thermodynamics, basically, where we're not putting as much water in the canner. We are venting the canner, and we're filling the rest of the canner with steam. And then whenever we allow the canner to pressurize after that, we're getting the pressure and heat to 240 degrees, which is that point that we know if there's anything going on with botulism or Clostridium botulinum, that's where we need to be for that marker. So that's why it's so important that we're not hot water bath canning those non-acidic foods, because it's going to be ripe for any other organism, and botulism being the Clostridium botulinum being one of them. So,
and you can't give it the smell check or the taste check.
So and that's the big thing with botulism, is that you have no idea. It's not anything
you just
that
get sick.
Yep,
Yes.
and typically it's one of those that whenever if you hear of it happening, because it's not as common as what it was, it still does happen. It's something where, well, so-and-so told me how to do it and I didn't know how, so I just figured it out. Or I was doing green beans and I did it this way, and then you learn that it's a recipe or it's a practice that's not safe. So that's why, if you call the office, which happens every year, multiple times, unfortunately, and somebody will say, I was doing it this way and this happened. And as we discuss, I unfortunately have to tell somebody I would consume all of that now or throw it away because it was not done correctly. And then and I do share with them, you're the consumer. If you feel safe enough to keep it, that's on you, but I'm just telling you the food safe way is to do it this way. So tomatoes are one of those borderline, though. So to your point, where almost all vegetables. If you're just doing it as a singular vegetable, like a green bean or squash, something like that, it's almost always going to be pressure can because it's not acidic enough. All of our fruits are pretty much always going to be hot water bath can because it's high enough. Or if we're doing a product that's a combination and we know from the recipe that the pH is high enough. So you can measure, but that's one of those where we just encourage people to use research-based. So that's where the University of Georgia has a website that is like the gold standard. That's in their food science lab. Yeah, it's the National Home Food Preservation website, and you can just Google it. All of their, and it's a great website anyway, where let's say that you have a garden at home and you have a ton of yellow squash, and you're like, I need to preserve some of this. You could go on and just search yellow squash, and it will pull up all the ways that you might be able to freeze it, can it, dry it.
Oh, that's fun.
And it gives you all these different ways that you can do it, and then it's something that it's research based, it's safe, and as long as you follow that practice, you're good.
You're okay. We don't do the dry canning. Let's reinforce
no dry
that.
canning.
That worries me that people are.
And it's
scary.
That is one of those that I always tell people that go through my classes, get on YouTube. You can watch it. Do not follow it because it's terrifying to watch these individuals do that, because the one that was really terrifying to me is it was a lady that baked bacon on parchment paper, and then while it was still hot, rolled it up kind of like a bacon cigar almost with the parchment paper, put that down into the jar, just put a lid on it, and then processed like 9.
With the paper?
Mm-hmm. And then as you need it, she would just pull them out and like rip some of the parchment paper off.
Okay, but on another note, I know occasionally my husband enjoys a cigar with his grandfather, a bacon cigar. I think you just gave some people an idea.
I think so. You may want to,
Yeah, so it's but tomatoes are that biggie that we always talk pretty heavily about, because people just assume that they're really acidic, and anymore they're not, just because tomatoes 100 years ago were way more acidic. I think I've talked on here before about how they used to be called poison apples, and they got a really bad rap, and you can look at barbecue and different things because they were so acidic it would leach lead and other things out of metal that was very popular at the time, and then people would die of lead poisoning. So
you're just full of good news today.
But it's that time of year. We're getting we're just getting a lot of calls. Statewide, I get those calls. So it's one of those that we do our best to try and help individuals make sure that they're doing it the right way.
Do you ever host just a canning class?
So I do. So the hard thing about, I have done some canning classes at the library, so that's something I'm going to try and do more of, just because when I first got trained, there wasn't a huge interest, but over the last year or two, I'm getting a lot more questions about, hey, will you come and do? So I don't know if it's where people are learning that I can do them, or we're getting back to that self-reliant aspect. So I've done one with the library where we just went over canning. We don't do a lab with it where we actually go through the process. We just do a lecture. I can do that. The hard thing about that is we need appropriate space to do it. So one of the big things for anybody that's listening, if you have like a glass stovetop, those are not meant to be canned on. There's multiple factors that go into it, where the weight of your canner is something that potentially, so those are tempered glass, so as it heats it can cycle and you could bust it. The other issue with those too is that anybody that has a glass stovetop will see that your burner cycles, where it'll kick on, turn off, and that is the last thing you want to do whenever you're canning, because you need it to be a constant heat source, and it does that so it doesn't overheat the glass. So you could buy there are other products that you could get to help that if you do have a glass stovetop. But in the community, we don't have a great place to really host the lab that would be conducive to teaching it. I mean, we do have some places that I could reach out to. It's just I haven't seen that big, because it would be like an all-day class. It would be a full, probably 6-hour class going through the process. But I do have it. We're getting ready to reschedule it, unfortunately, the date. But I'm getting ready to do a class in October on freezing and drying with the library. So once we get that date rescheduled, because I had something else that come up, we will make sure to get that pushed out, because that is becoming more of a, and that's not as, people feel more comfortable, approachable. Right. People are terrified to pressure can, and they don't need to be, because they know stories of, well, my grandma did it, one exploded. There are so many safety mechanisms now that unless you just modify your canner or do something grotesquely wrong, it is a very low chance that anything could happen. You may overprocess something, and that's about the worst that could happen.
Okay, so it's a safer practice these days.
It is. The one thing that makes people feel comfortable is there's a plastic bung, or it's a rubber bung, on the lids that is manufactured to release at a certain pressure if the canner gets to that point. So then it will depressurize like instantly.
So we don't have the disasters that used to happen.
Right. Yeah, and they did.
They
that
did,
was
yeah.
in the past. The research wasn't as big, and that was where it was. So anyway, that's just one of those things that I have gotten a lot more calls, especially with tomatoes, because tomatoes are coming on. There's abundance of them. So somebody called in and had bloom rot, and well, what do I do? And that's one of those that, as long as you could cut that away. We just are wanting to use the ripest, best product as possible, because we don't want to introduce anything that's potentially already decaying, because then we're just introducing it into your end product. So.
And if you are having blossom end rot in your tomatoes, your soil might need some more calcium.
Yeah, it all is hand in hand.
It is.
Yeah, so,
it absolutely is.
So,
When you were in last time, I think you were talking about composting.
I think we did talk about composting a little bit. We also talked about stem propagations.
Yes.
Yes. So I still have my basil and all my herbs that I had brought in. They're propagating. So the basil rooted really well.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on the sage and the rosemary, which after doing some more research, it seems like that just takes a little bit longer. But the basil was quick to root, so I've already got it planted.
That's exciting.
Yes. And one thing I did do wrong, so if you are somebody that followed along with the last class, I didn't take enough, or the last session, story hour, whatever we call it, I didn't take enough leaves off of my sage, so some of them did start to dry out, and we just want to remember that plants will lose the majority of their water through their leaves during water propagation, so trying to take off as many leaves as you can will help that propagation process.
Okay.
and this time of year, we need all the sage we can get around them doorways for them spooky ghosts.
That's
Yes,
right, because they're
absolutely.
coming. It's October.
Just in time
Almost
for
October.
Yes.
Yes.
Something else I did want to mention. So this winter, private applicators, commercial applicators are going to be getting letters in the mail, not only from the state chemist office, so be on the lookout for that. If your license is up for renewal the month of October, you will be getting a letter in the mail from the state chemist office. Make sure that you fill that out and turn it in as soon as possible. This is going to be a big re-registration year, so the quicker you can get your paperwork turned in, the quicker they can get you your license, and then you're good to go for the next season. But also, our office has been making the attempt to move away from paper mailings and more towards online, things like that. But we also want to make sure that we're still reaching our farmers about things like private applicator programs, because that is something where I feel like I get called in the summer and people want to know what's going on. So our office is sending out a mailing. It's going out this month or next month, where we are requesting either an email or a phone number if that is something that you are interested in being contacted. That way when we have programs coming up, we can reach out to you. So yeah.
Send them out. Very good.
Busy time.
It is a busy time. Any other programs coming up? Is that everything so far?
The biggest things that we have coming up kind of as an office or just in the coming month is we're getting ready to participate in Apple Crunch again, the Great Apple Crunch. So this is a program that we do with all kindergarten classes where we work with a local orchard to purchase one apple per youth, and we go in and do a short program on apples. So we have that coming up at the beginning of October. We'll be going into each one of those schools at the kindergarten. I'm currently working with the library to host a walking program.
Yes.
So every Friday.
Do you have one coming up? Is it this Friday?
It's so every Friday until the beginning of November, maybe. At 9:30, a small group of us meet at the library, and we go for a walk, and then we have some discussion after and kind of just chat about things of how to goal set and what that might look like. So anybody, and that's open to the public for the most part. So if you're interested in just kind of coming and walking with us, by all means. Obviously, weather dependent will kind of, and that's one of those that I say at the beginning of November. If we have a crazy turn in weather and it gets really cold, we may cease the walking part, but we'll still continue to try and meet and discuss what that might look like. So,
and while the weather is good, I mean, like, just even if you're like, I'm not a walker, if that 15-minute walk is more than you've ever done, that's okay. I mean, it's moving.
Yeah, and one of the participants in the last time we met discussed how they enjoy coming to this because it gives them that opportunity to just move. It gives them that purpose that goal to go to walk, and she knows that she's done it that day. So then, because where she lives, it's a lot of hills and blind turns, so she doesn't feel comfortable walking at home. So we use the path. So for those that haven't been to the library, since they've connected the walking paths, it's a nice connection there, and they walk to the kind of the elementary area and then back. So it's not too far of a walk, but
and
it's
you go at your own
good
pace.
enough. Yep. It's not anything where people are out like speed walking. So that's one of those that I do have coming up. So October, yeah. So right now it's just a lot of planning. The Great Apple Crunch is a good thing to do. It's just there's some logistical planning of students and getting them and the apples and so forth. So
I am sad to miss Apple Crunch this year because I'll be on maternity leave. But
do you do different types of apples, or is it all one type of apple?
So we usually rely on whatever is in season with the orchard. So much like with growing a garden, different varieties of apples have different seasons as well. So there's like early fall apples, later fall apples. Some varieties even are ready to go even earlier than that. So it will be dependent on what is available at that time and what they have. So I forget what we got last year, but I think we had two-ish different varieties that were kind of those early fall, mid-fall apples. So, which it's usually a red apple. Green apples are usually kind of more of your baking apples. They're a little more tart. It's more of a Fuji type apple or I can't think of the name of it.
Of a green apple or a red apple?
No, there's the red apple that we have at home, but it's usually...
There was an Empire that... I know we did a taste test in our office of just the different apples.
That is true.
Red Delicious is a lie.
Yeah, I went and bought, I think, 8 different variety of apples that were just available locally.
Okay.
And just did a taste test with everybody in the office of which one they liked better, and Red Delicious was pretty much everybody disliked. I think maybe Catherine liked Red Delicious.
Was this a blonde?
Yes, Honey Crisp.
Honey Crisp.
Oh,
is the one I'm trying to think of. Yes, it is kind of the variety that looks a little striped, because that's one thing we talked about last year is the difference what they look like, because some are solid collars, some might have striping on them and different things like that. But yeah, the Red Delicious
it's out. And this was a blind taste test, like they didn't know what they were tasting. Do you remember?
It was I think I just kind of cut them up and put them on a plate and was like, oh, that's this one, that one. But Red Delicious I think Catherine was the only one that was like, I don't mind this one. And everybody else was like, hard pass.
It was the loser.
It's soft and it's not as sweet. And
I like a little crunch to the apple.
It's got to be a little crisp.
Yeah.
And that's like Granny Smiths I'm not a fan of eating them just by itself, but are perfect for baking. So that's where I think last time we were in with Tom, apples have different purposes. So the sweetness, the tartness, and some of it's based on when it's harvested. But that's where, like with Johnny Appleseed, or John Chapman was his real name, those apples that he planted were called spitting apples because they were so tart. It's a very common, like a crab apple that we have around here now. So they weren't meant to be eaten. Those were produced solely to produce a spirit called Applejack. Because of the tartness of it lended itself to a better spirit, basically. So that's what they used it for. So everybody that's why when you go in, there's the variety that you can have, because everybody likes a different apple.
With a different taste.
But yeah, Red Delicious, don't even bring those into me, because I will give it right back.
Yes. You will not accept that. Very good. All right, guys. Well, anything else going on extension-wise that we need to talk about today?
I don't think so. It's just a kind of a busy time. Nora's off today, so she's just not in. She's got some stuff going. Had some kiddos, I think, had some appointments today, so she's at home getting some snuggles probably with them. So Sabrina and I took it over. But I know that the one thing that I did want to mention before we go, because I know we have some homemakers that listen, we do have Achievement Night coming up September 30th. So make sure that if you haven't, we get that registration in. The date's passed, but I'm sure we could still accommodate. Our Madison District one-day retreat is October 21st, $20 registration fee. please RSVP by the 15th. And if you have any questions about either of those, please give the office a call. Bonita does a great job of managing all of that. And she's also looking for any of our homemakers that have participated with just volunteering or participating as a member that has brought in something for our open class. If you have any memories from that, she's just putting together some kind of testimonials and some fun little things with that.
Nice.
Give her a buzz, or just anybody even from the county, because I know we have not just homemakers that participate. That's one of those that please reach out, let her know what that is, so then we can kind of compile that. That's one of the things we've been doing at the office. We have the new building going up.
Yes.
So we've been doing a lot of kind of reminiscing and trying to digitize photos and having a lot of discussions of what it was like then versus what it's like now, and seeing the pictures. And we actually just saw some that there was a bunch of WTRE
Oh, is that right?
things yesterday from 2011 maybe,
Really?
which seems not that long ago,
But yet it was.
looking at the pictures, it seems so antiquated.
Yeah.
And just what the fairgrounds look like and the different things, because that's when the stage was still, I think, rotated the other way. And
Yeah.
so, but
Oh, how times have changed, right?
I know.
Do you guys have an approximate move date yet for the new building?
So we have been given a move date. I won't publicly throw that
Okay.
out, though, just from the standpoint of it's a construction job. So I know that as of right now, they are doing a great job and they're a little ahead of schedule. But that also comes with a lot of subjectivity where who knows what could happen. So I know that they're wanting, the goal is to be in springtime.
Okay.
So springtime is going to be the latest. If it happens a little earlier, that's going to be beautiful. But I know that that's where they're kind of focusing to try and get that building done. So if you've not been out past the fairgrounds in, a month? Probably. I would take a cruise out and look, because I've had a few people that are like, holy cow, like that.
Went up fast.
That went up fast. Like there's a whole building there.
I wasn't here over the weekend, which is really odd because usually I'm in and out. So I hadn't gone by the new building since last Thursday.
So the brick.
Yes.
the
This
brick
morning I'm like,
wainscoting.
look at that. Like,
Yep.
yes, very
Yeah,
noticeable differences.
Yeah, it's gonna be very nice. So that's one of those things we've been working with them to. That's where our new office will be located. So working with the county to get things oriented, because we are going to be moving into a little bit smaller space than where we are now, which is a-okay. It gives us an opportunity to kind of take note and inventory of what we have and what we don't need maybe. So it's going to be a great thing to be on the fairgrounds too. That will cut down on some of that travel time during the fair, because we'll be right there. And yes, we're right across the street, but
it's longer than you think.
Yeah, whenever you're having to travel back and forth with ribbons and trophies and all the things, it adds quite a bit of logistical planning of what that looks like. So being closer is going to be nicer.
Nice.
So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be for those that maybe aren't aware, it's gonna be an exhibition hall as well. It's gonna seat up to 600 people. There's gonna be full audio visual there for presentations. So it's gonna be very nice. It's
And
gonna
during
be
fair, there will be some seating in and around that building too, so it'll add
Yep.
some more seating. I know when people go to get their lunch, you grab your lunch and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
where do I sit?
Yep.
So
It'll be a nice addition.
Yeah.
I think everybody's looking forward to it as a
yeah, yep. It's something that is going to be. It's going to be a huge addition. That's a big need in the area, not just in our county, just in our area, to have a space like that for multi-purpose. So
it can accommodate. Plus, it will have the big overhead doors, right?
yeah. So the overhead doors they're putting one in large enough to be able to pull a full combine in. So then they could do trainings with our local implement dealers, or even like if Sabrina wanted to do some sort of ag safety, we could bring equipment in. So then we would have the full space to be able to do that and then get it in and out easily. So it's
exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it's being done really well. I mean, it's the building itself. We did a quick tour of it the other day with Scott Barnes Construction, who's doing the building, and showed us all the little things. And it's gonna be awesome. I mean, it already is, but it's gonna be really nice when it's done.
Before we go, we can't forget Bonita has the brownie recipes.
Yes. So that is one of those that for our open class in the past we've brought the baking back a little bit. So we do a kind of one item approach where we do a contest, and so this past year we did brownies. So she has compiled all of those recipes together and is available now in the office. So if it's something that you've asked, because we have had some people that have called, those are ready to go. So swing in and pick your brownie recipe book up. And
That's right. There was a wide variety of brownies too that came
yeah,
in. Like,
it's
goodness.
the COVID years, we had to do away with our baked portion of the open class, and we still get some hate for that. But
people are just wanting it to come back. Let's rephrase the word hate.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I mean, I've gotten some of those calls. I think hate's pretty on point. No, it's just one of those. It was a lot of people. That was one of those things they loved coming, and because there was these internal competitions between people of, well, last year, Emily won the pie contest and she beat me, so this year I'm trying to, and there was a lot of that camaraderie that went with it that people miss. And
Sure.
So we've brought it back where we just focus on one item. So this past year's brownies. I don't know what next year will be. So it'll be another baked good with different categories that they'll go through. And for those that haven't participated, we have judges, taste test, and then they kind of win out, and you can kind of go and see. So
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want a barbecue competition to come to Decatur County.
Oh.
I have talked about that. I do barbecue judging across the state for 4-H, and have talked. I guess at one point there was an open.
I was gonna say I thought there was.
There was
a long time ago.
Yeah, here where it was like an open class kind of deal, and I was like, man, we could get that back. I'm sure.
Yeah, this
Listen,
is our
I
year.
don't barbecue, but I eat. So
You're a great eater, right?
Yeah,
That's all it takes.
I want it here.
So, but that's.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on. Extension. It's just busy. Yep, we're getting ready to say goodbye to Sabrina for a little bit, but for all good things, because we all have young families in the office, so we've been sharing all of the fun little tips and tricks of how to keep your sanity. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
And she'll be back with us after the first of the year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very good. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
It's 11:50 on Tree Country 1330.